Hey folks, Carl Kishel here, and welcome to this week's edition of the Microsoft Cloud News Update, researching the cloud blog so you don't have to. So this week we have a couple of cool announcements to share. We have a new migration tool available in Azure. App Service Environment version 3 is now generally available. We'll talk about that. Some Microsoft Teams roadmap updates, as well as a migration tool for those Gmail migrations to Office 365, and a few more items. With that, let's jump right into it. Links to all of the updates can be found in the description of this video. So the first update, new migration tool for transitioning to cloud services. So you may be familiar with cloud services classic deployments. Those are PaaS offerings within Azure. Cloud Services Extended Support has been around for a while. It's based on ARM templates, Azure Resource Manager. And this migration tool allows you to migrate those cloud services from Classic to Extended. And all the details on how the migration tool works and how to access it are at the link for the description. App Service Environment version 3 now generally available. So ASE version 3 is available for your isolated app plans within version 2. A couple of new updates, and some of those specific updates can be found by clicking on the link. We'll do that now. All the feature differences are listed here between version 2 and version 3. So you can read through this, but I think that the two more important ones are around network dependencies and not having to worry about networking dependencies with VNets. And the second biggest difference, and really the value prop here of going to version 3, is around zone redundancy and the support for regions within ASE version 3. So check out the link for more info on ASE version 3. Our next two updates are regarding Microsoft Teams and some roadmap updates. So this first one here is currently in development, slated for release later this year, September 2021. And it's the ability to set an auto-expiration policy for your meeting recordings that are stored on OneDrive and SharePoint. So there are some SKUs within the Office 365, Microsoft 365 platform that your meeting recordings can either be stored in OneDrive, SharePoint, or automatically in Microsoft Stream. If you wanted to set an auto expiration policy for recordings on OneDrive and SharePoint, you can now do so coming with this September release. And the second roadmap update for Microsoft Teams is regarding paging support for Teams phones. Again, this is in development and slated for release later this year, September 2021. This feature was previously announced for Microsoft Teams and the actual Teams client. This feature is now being extended to Teams phones and the hardware supported for Teams phones, and it's the ability to do push-to-talk communications between various Teams users using Teams hardware supported phones. So be on the lookout for this feature coming later this year. Gmail filtering and migrations to Outlook rules. So there are a couple of tools available today that'll help you with your Gmail and Google Workspace migrations to Exchange Online. And in the past, those tools focused on mail, calendar, contacts, the usual suspects, etc. But there was no way to migrate some of the Gmail filters and the rules. However, that has now changed, and there is now migration support for Gmail filters and converting those filters into Outlook rule migrations. All the details on exactly what is covered and what is not covered are listed here in the link. There's some new curriculum now available for IoT and IoT for beginners. And don't let the graphic here fool you. This is a pretty good summary and curriculum on all the necessary steps in learning IoT, targeting maybe high school to higher education. It gives you a great background on what IoT is, what can be done with IoT, and how to access all the curriculum. So it's available on GitHub. Those links are here in this blog post. You will also see for some of the lessons that are here, some hardware kits that help you go through some of the curriculum. And it's through a third party called Seed. They put together 2 hardware packages. One is regarding a terminal starter kit from Wio, and the second is a Raspberry Pi version 4 starter kit. Both estimate retail price is roughly $100 for those kits. They come with a lot of sensors, hardware supplies, etc. And this is a really nice way of learning IoT, both from a hardware, programming, and software perspective. So definitely check this out if you want to dive into IoT. And last but not least, a first look here regarding Azure Percept. And what Percept is both a software development kit and a hardware kit that provides you with some modules around video monitoring and audio monitoring, and the processing boards and the hardware kit that's needed to do this. It's optimized for caching on the Azure platform. I believe the Percept hardware kit is roughly around $300, but it comes with a lot of great hardware for both using the Azure Cognitive Services and visualization services and audible services as well. And this particular blog post gets into some specific projects that you can use that are available in GitHub, and walks you through those particular projects and how to connect the Percept hardware kit to Azure, and going through a project-based learning curriculum to help you better understand what the platform is capable of doing. So definitely check out the link for more info on Azure Percept. That concludes this edition of the Microsoft Cloud News Update. Thank you so much for joining us this week. It was really a short week in terms of the number of updates here, but a lot of good information. If you enjoyed this, please give me a thumbs up. If you want to be informed of all of our updates, we do these about weekly. Please hit subscribe and the notification bell as well in YouTube. If you have any feedback, comments, etc., drop me a comment in the comment box. I take all comments very seriously and read through everything. So definitely take care of that. You could also reach out to me on either LinkedIn or Twitter. With that, again, thank you so much for your time this week, and we will catch you next time. Take care.